And my internet's been really acting weird, but let's see. Okay. We're recording now. And boom, there we are. All right. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
All right, cool. All right. So this is what we're looking at. I'm going to send this lesson over to you. It's lesson number 2. Okay. Our vocabulary words you have at the top 13 all the way down to 24. On one side of the vocabulary words here, you have what they would call the nouns. Okay. The nouns are on this side, starting at 13. Okay. Which are the horse, the female horse, the king, the queen, the commandment, and this idea, adjective in terms of joy and happiness, right? Over on this side right here, what we have are the verbs, okay? And that's why you would say, it says he sent or he took or he gave and he did and he loved and he called and he read, okay? If you know how to read the Hebrew, which we've learned a couple of these words that were from last week, you would kind of know what it is, like lakak was from last week as well, okay? So you're going to get your vocabularies. Those vocabulary words, again, are going to be used within the lesson. So that's why they're giving it to us, okay? So last week we had rule number 1 through 6, which you guys have a copy of that. Today is rule number 7 and 8. So it's only 2 rules that we're going to go over. The first one is dealing with what they would call the arrow, okay? The arrow is represented by an aleph and a tav, okay? Anytime you see this, it can have 1 dot, 2 dots, or 3 dots. Doesn't matter how many dots they have underneath it. In the original scroll, there are no dots underneath it, okay? So what does it mean? It's an arrow. That's exactly what it is. An et is an arrow, okay? And it's going to tell us how did it come up with this, okay? So we're going to look at how it's being used, okay? So the word et in the Hebrew, or eth, a Hebrew sentence, is used like an arrow or a pointer. This first sentence here is the man sent the woman. Somebody read that for me, please.
Haish,
Uh-huh.
halaka.
Good job. This is sha. This is a SH sound. And then this is the next is the L sound, right? So we got sha, la, k, shalak, okay? Shalak. So Haish, the man, shalak. It's 3 letters. So it means that it's perfect. Okay. Okay. And because it doesn't have a shalaka on it, it means that it's talking about a man, which is the noun here. The verb has to be masculine or feminine.
Masculine.
It has to be masculine. So if it's masculine, it's really saying he sent. Our word for our vocabulary is shalak. SHLACH. Shalak. Okay. Sha is this, la right here, and ak is this little ak here. Okay. I'm going to tell you why it's saying shalak, ak. Okay. I don't want to get too confusing when we get to this point, but I'll save it for later. Yeah. So ha'ish shalak and what? How you say that? Eth. Okay. So it has 3 dots. 3 dots is the EH. That's what those 3 dots is, that sound. Eh. Okay. So the aleph is silent. So we're going to pronunciate these 3 dots. Eh. And then this is the TH sound, which is eth. Okay. If it had a dot in it, we would call it et, like E-T, et. Okay. But it's not that, it's eth. Okay. because it doesn't have a dot inside of, and I'm calling it a dot, but it's really called a dagesh. But it's a th, eth. Okay, so ha'ish, shalak, and how do you say the woman? Ha'isha. So it's not isha, okay, it's isha. Okay. Perfect. So ha'ish, shalak, eth, ha'isha. The man, he sent. Then it's telling you the arrow. What did he send? A ha'isha, the woman. He sent the woman. Okay. Quiz question for you. What part of the sentence over here in this sentence is this letter hey represent?
D.
Thank you. It's represented by hey. Okay. That's what you'll see. You notice the eth is not mentioned anywhere in this sentence. Okay. In the translation, it won't be seen in an English translation. Okay. But when you look in the Hebrew, it'll tell you this. And this is just what they would call a marker, like an arrow, to point the verb to where the action is happening to, where it's being sent. So this first noun is the one who's doing the action, right? And they're going to show the arrow, which is the eth, is pointing to the object of the action. So the man, he sent eth, the what? The woman, the ha'isha. Perfect. Okay. So the word eth points out to us what it was that the man sent. He sent the woman. Okay. The next one, somebody read that.
Habane,
Yes.
Nathan,
Good. Nathan. Nathan, like Nathan. Nathan.
E,
Uh-huh.
Jesus,
Jesus. Yes.
El,
Yep.
Ha'av,
Good. So Habain, Nathan, et the Jesus el Ha'av. Okay. So the ha again is the bain, as you know, is one of your vocabulary words from lesson number 1 is the son. Nathan, it's 3 letters and it doesn't have a on the end of it. It doesn't have this little sign here of a aleph, or excuse me, a hey with a. So we know that it's masculine because it's talking about a son. And then it's telling us this is the verb. And what did they do? He gave. The eth pointing directly to what he gave, which is the ha, and the ha is the, and the sus is what?
horse,
Horse. And this is 2. And then this is the, and then this is father. So Havain, Nathan et Jesus de el ha'av. Okay, good job. Excellent. So the eth is going to point out what it was that the son gave to the father, which is the horse, the Jesus. Okay. So the basic rule is when you see the word eth in a sentence, don't translate it. It's just a pointer. And this is where, when we were Christians, we were like, oh, he says, I'm the Aleph Tav. He never said he was the Aleph Tav. He never said that, when we talked about JC, he's the Aleph Tav. He's the beginning and the end. No, it doesn't mean that. We were spiritualizing this. Okay. The eth is what? The aleph here is what? Is the first letter in what? In the Hebrew language. What's the tav?
The last.
It's the last. It's the last letter. Okay. Right? What does the aleph mean? What's
Strength.
It's strength, but it's all, yes, it's the strength, right? or it could be the strength or strong because of the ox, right? And then the tav means a mark. So when you put those together, you have the strong mark. And the strong mark is an arrow pointing directly to where you want to go. That's the only reason why they're using it. Now I can spiritualize it and say, well, the eth is everything in between the aleph and the tav. So whatever comes after it is something that's in between it. But that's just being, extra spiritual. Okay. So I hope you guys understand that. All right. So that's all this rule is. It's just an arrow. Okay. What else we have? I'm gonna say a word. You tell me which what it is. Ha'av. Who's that?
Father.
The father. Laquak. Laquak.
Took.
Took. Eth. Ha'aim. What's ha'aim?
Mother.
The mother.
Aim is mother. The is ha. Aim is mothers. Do you guys see the puzzle? So when I see this, when you got to just design your mind and say, okay, this is Av, that's the father. Laquak is my vocabulary word. That means took or to take, depending on how it's done. And eth is an arrow, and then this is the, and then aim is mother. So the the more vocabulary you know, the better off you'll be able to read and understand. Okay. So these are the words you're going to familiarize yourself with because you're going to see it all the time. Someone read this one for me.
Okay. Shalak.
Good. Ha'ish shalak. Arrow. Who did the man sin?
The daughter.
The daughter, the Habath. Okay. The Habath. The Habath is the daughter. Okay. Daughter, as you know, is they would have it in Hebrew as bath, like bath, but it's bath. You can remember this because daughters and women like to take baths. Okay. Okay. So the ha is and the ish is the man, the ha-ish, eth, the Habath. See? Very simple. It's not hard, it's just a puzzle. Somebody tell me the next sentence. My Hebrew readers, go ahead.
Quack. Ed. Obey. Habay.
Good. So ha, the isha, that's female. And then if you notice, you see this ah on the end of la quaka. Okay. I said la ka. La ka. They put that ah on it because somebody tell me why. Why is this verb feminine?
Because the woman.
Yes, because the noun is feminine. So if you have a feminine noun, you have to have a feminine verb who's doing action. You can't have a masculine noun and then a feminine verb. So when you look at words, you'll be like, oh, wait a minute. That's, I know my vocabulary because a lot of times you ask the question, well, how do I know what's the noun and what's a verb? When you read the sentence, it'll be able to tell you that. You'll be able to find it. You'll be like, oh, I know this right here is Isha. So this is a female. That's Ha. So anything that came after that, la quack, right? If it was la quack, it would just be masculine, but it's la quaka, okay? Feminine, eth, the havain, the sun. That's who the woman took. She took the sun, okay? There's a note. Sometimes you'll see the eth vowel, like I said, with 3 dots, 2 dots, and even I think at one point I saw with 1 dot in the Torah, but it doesn't make any difference. It's still an arrow. That's all it is. That's all the eth is an arrow to point you. It's just a pointer. And that's easy, isn't it? That's not hard. Okay. So you're going to learn those vocabulary words and then you're going to increase it. So let's look at another thing right quick. Okay. So that's rule number 7. That's over. That's easy. Okay. This one here, when I first learned it, I thought it was going to be very challenging. I didn't understand it because I was like, man, semi-coup, what is this? How does this work? But it's very, very simple. Okay. You got to wrap your mind around it, but it's very, very simple. Okay. I don't want you to have to remember how to say this word, semi-coup. I don't even know where it comes from. Okay. I don't. I haven't studied it enough to know, well, where did that come from? More than likely, it's somewhere in the Torah. You just got to find it. And in the Torah, it will tell you this is the reason why they're using it. Okay. Because that's how I found out about different words like the vav and the shin and all that, because they're used in the Torah. So the Jewish people did not come up and create these things. They were already there. See? So the language is already there. You just got to know how to use it. You just got to know the rules. Okay. So this is what this book is. This book is teaching us the rules of the language. Okay. So in English, one way of saying that one noun belongs to another is by using the words the and of. For example, if we would say the book of the boy, we would mean by this that the book belongs to the boy. So the idea of the and of, that gives us what you would call possession or ownership. Okay, so similarly, if we would say the toy of the child, we would mean that by this, that the toy belongs to the child, etc. So in biblical Hebrew, however, we don't need the words the or of when we're putting a sentence structure together, okay? So I don't want you to get confused and saying, well, I just thought we read that ha. I thought ha was the. They're saying we don't need this. In terms of what they would call a semi-coup form, it's a form. And what it is a form is in order to make something belong to someone, what they would do is put two nouns next to each other. Okay. So they'll add two nouns together in a sentence to let you know who does this belong to. Okay. Instead of them saying the horse of David, they would put just David in the horse. Or the sons of Israel, okay? They would put just sons in Israel. They would never include the words the of. It never says to the sons of Israel. It always says B'nai Israel. And there's a way that they do it that we're going to teach you, okay? So in biblical Hebrew, we don't use these words the and of when we're putting two nouns together. Simply by putting two nouns side by side, it gives us the meaning, the blank of blank, okay? Or you put anything here. You could put the horse here of David. You could put the staff of, Judah, whatever, okay? So it's a certain way that they put it in the sentence. And when you see it written in this way, you'll automatically know, oh, these are two nouns next to each other. So this first noun belongs to the second noun. They go together, okay? And they're going to give us some examples, okay? So we're going to see this in some examples. So one would say, how would we say the son of man in Hebrew? That's the question. How would we say that? So we got the two, words. We got Bain, which is son.
Ben Haish.
Then you got Haish. So when you would say this, a person would say, well, you would just say the Haish Bain, or, the Bain of Haish, okay? But it says by simply putting two nouns side by side, we have the meaning the son of man, okay? So they would go Bain Haish. So Bain Haish, off the top, this just means son and then the man. But we don't, English, we were like, what does that mean? Son, the man. Son, the man? Okay. So we have the meaning, the son of man. In Hebrew, when they put two nouns together, two nouns, okay, it takes this form. This is a form. It's like a formula, okay? So when we say form, you're going to see it written in a certain way, okay? Bane doesn't mean just a son in this context, because since it's next to another noun, it means the son of. Okay, so that's the rule. So this is a rule, and there's a form which we would like to call it also a formula. I would call it a formula. Like in math, you have to know this formula in order to understand it. Okay, so Bane by itself means a son by itself, like your first lesson, correct? And you would not say the son unless it had a ha on the front of it, like ha Bane. You know, you would think ha Bane. You know, you would think this is it in order for it to be the son. But it's showing you that you can have the son without the ha in front of it. When it's next to another noun, it automatically takes on the of. And that is what you call the semi-coup. Noun by noun, two nouns next to each other, okay? So here's another example. Does anyone have any questions? Because this is kind of confusing sometimes because you've never seen this before, okay? But the more you see it, the more familiar you get with it, you'll understand it. And I'll show you some examples of it a little bit later. Number two, how would you say the daughter of the lady? Well, you look there, they got daughter as Bath. And then you got Ha'isha. By simply putting the two nouns next to each other, you got Bath Ha'isha. So really what Bath Ha'isha is the daughter of. The of. Okay. The daughter of the lady. Okay. So the daughter belongs to the lady. Just like the son belongs to the man. Just like the horse, whoever, if the horse is first, the first part of it, then it would be the horse belongs to such and such, okay? So again, the rule is, and you're going to get a copy of this, when you put two Hebrew nouns next to each other, then it's the blank of whatever it is, okay? Number three, the mother of the son. It would be Aim Habain. Here, Aim here means the mother of. So what is it telling us? It's telling us the first noun is the one that belongs to the second noun, okay? So whatever in first position, okay, then it belongs to the second noun, okay? Rosh is here the head of. Ain here is the mother of. The reason why it takes this form is simply because you put how many nouns next to each other? Two, okay? You got the word ragel. Ragel has to do with the person's foot. Here means the foot of. So ragel ha'av, meaning the foot of the father. You see? So it's kind of weird because you and I are not used to that. We're like, well, that's the father's foot. No, the foot of the father. And all you would have to say is ragel ha'av. You should know that the first one is what belongs to the father, okay? So in definition, in Hebrew, when we put two nouns together as shown above, that's called a semi-coup. The first noun, right? Let me get rid of this. The first noun that you see means the blank of, okay? So somebody give me some examples of the first noun. What do you want to put right here?
Staff.
The staff. Okay. So if I was to write the staff is called a mate. Okay. So if I said the staff of David, I would put the mate. Let me hear. I put the mate and then I would have Dawid right here. That's all I would have. Okay. So whatever this noun is, this is what belongs to the next person. Okay. That's who owns it. So it could be a staff. It could be a son, it could be a daughter, it could be a horse, it could be anything. But the moment that that first noun goes in that place, it's the of or the of, okay? The son of, okay? So if I said son of man, the son of the man, how would I say that? Thank you. Vein Haish. Yes. You see, that's what it would be. Vein Haish. Yes. If I said the daughter of the mother, what would it be?
Bath Aisha.
Yes. Or Ha'ain,
Hi.
because the mother is aim.
Ain.
But if it was the daughter of the woman, the daughter again would be what? Bath, what?
Isha.
Haisha. Okay. I'm writing in Hebrew and English. Haisha. Okay. Sorry for the confusion because I'm writing from right to left. Okay. It'll be Bath. Okay. And then here it'll be Ha and then Isha. Okay. That's what it would be. Bath Haisha. The daughter of. Okay. And that's just a rule that you're going to get, and you're going to get it the more you do it. So don't worry about it. Okay. Don't like, oh, I got it. I can't remember this. My mind is not going to accept this. This is confusing. It's a lot of stuff. No, it's not. You're getting used to it. So here it is. Even in this rule, there's just one more rule that we have to know regarding when you put a noun into a semi-coup form. When you put it in that formula, there's just one other rule that you need to understand. Okay. And that rule, without me reading it, is, I'm going to try to simplify it. The rule is very simple. Okay. Once you put something in a semi-coup form, right? You're putting two nouns to each other. If the two nouns that you're putting next to each other, if one of the nouns have a feminine ending on it, like this right here, if it has this on the end of it, or if it has the M right here, the ending on here, if it has this one or this one, these two endings, you got to change it. You got to change the ending. And they're going to give us some examples of what that is. And guess what? I don't know why they're asking for this change. I just know that you have to make the change. So basically, if you have a feminine ending or you have a masculine plural ending, they want you to change the form. So the normal form for happiness is simka, okay? Simka, okay? Simka means happiness and joy, okay? Happiness, okay? But the moment that it has this here and this little feminine ending on it, okay? I got to change it when I put it in a semi-coup form. So if it becomes the first noun that I put there, okay, I have to change this I got to change it to a tav. They want you to change it to a tav, okay? And it still means the same thing, the happiness of. Everybody get that? It's just a rule, okay? If so, the ah changes to a tav, okay? That's what it changes. The letter drops off. You get rid of this, and then you add the letter. You're going to add the tav to the end, okay? Here's another one. It's called Isha. You know, that's a wife, okay? And she has the feminine ending, which is this ah. You're going to get rid of the ah, and you're going to put a tav on the end. So instead of it being called Isha, it's going to be called Asheth. Asheth, okay? That's just the rule, okay? So I'll give you an example. If I'm going to say the wife of, I usually would say the Isha, and who I want her to be the wife of the man, right? And I go Ha-ish, okay? That's what I would say, okay? But because because this in particular word is the first noun, I got to change that last letter to what?
Tav.
I got to change it to a tav. That's just the rule. You got to change it to a tav. And then it would be Asheth Ha-isha or Ha-ish, okay? Ha-ish, forgive me, Ha-ish, okay? That's just the rule. You got to change it. That's the example. It goes from getting rid of this and changing it to this. They're not going to tell us why the vowels go from a 1 dot to a 2 dot. They're not going to discuss that right now. They're just telling you this rule. Okay, this rule. Number 2, if the noun ends in this, which we have nouns that end in that, you know, the eem again is the plurality of the masculine. So we have one for sons, for son, which is bane. And the moment that you put the eem on the end of it, it makes it plural, makes it sons. But if I'm going to say the sons of Israel, I'm not going to say Banim Israel. I'm not going to say Banim Yisrael. I'm going to say Bnei Israel. And you hear this all through the Hebrew text. You never hear it say Banim Yisrael. Why is that? Because what is the Banim? What's the Banim? Is it a verb or is it a noun?
Nah.
It's a noun. Is it the first noun or the second noun?
First.
It's the first. Okay. So if I was to take the first noun, right, that's in the first place, right, from right to left, this one is called the Semi-Coup Form. So this one has to be changed if it ends in a yod and a mem. It has to be changed. We have to convert it over to removing the mem and adding a little dot underneath the noon. Okay. So it's Baneh versus Banim. Okay. The next one is what? You see the horses?
Loose.
Yeah, so the horses are what? Susin. Right? You see the horses? What kind of horses are they? They're masculine or feminine?
Masculine.
They're masculine. Why are they masculine?
Because of the eem.
There you go, because you got the yod and the mem. Okay. If it didn't have this as masculine here and it had a on the end, then will the horses be what? Or excuse me, that's plural. I mean, that's singular. If I had a wa and a tav on the end and it was an oath, the horses would then be what?
Feminine.
Feminine.
They'll be feminine. Okay. So if I'm talking about horses, I have to determine that the horses are masculine or feminine. Okay. So an eem on the end is masculine, an oath on the end of it is feminine. Okay. That's what you got to remember. That's from your last lesson. So these horses are masculine. The sons are masculine. So the rule is if you have this on the end of any noun and you put it into the Semi-Coup form, the first position noun, it will change and drop off the mem and it will become the nay. So the formula is this. You're going to move away from a yod and a mem. And when you put it in a Semi-Coup form, it's going to turn into 2 dots and then a yod. That's it. So you got to remember. So often when you look at any noun, listen to me carefully. It just don't have to be Bnei Yisrael. It could be another noun, like Susay. The formula is still the same. It's the 2 dots and a yod if it's in a Semi-Coup form. If it's in its regular form, it'd be a yod and a mem. But these are equivalent. There's no difference between these two right here. They're equal. Somebody tell me why. Why are those two equal? I'll tell you why they're equal. Is this sons right here? Yes.
Yes.
Are these sons? Yes. The only difference is because I'm putting it into a Semi-Coup form, the of, I got to remove this letter and I got to add another dot. It's exactly the same. So when you look at any word that has this little vowel point underneath it like that, like what you see right here, It could be a horse. It could be a son. It could be anything. Well, what's the kicker? They all have to be masculine in order for them to have the dot like this. You understand? Let's go over it again. Some nouns that don't have an ending on it. So for example, all the other nouns that don't have a feminine or a masculine ending, that don't come with the ha or don't come with the m, they don't come with this, you're not supposed to change any of their letters. They don't need to be changed when you put them in a semi-coup form. So what does it mean? If it's a regular horse by itself and it doesn't have a susa on it, like a female horse, a susa, it'd be here and it'd be a susa. If it doesn't have that, you don't have to change it. Okay. If it's a son by itself without the yin, you don't have to change it. It still remains the same. So the only time something needs to be changed is when this is on the end of it and this is on the end of it. This is the feminine that has to be changed, and this is the masculine needs to be changed. So if I have to change the ha, I'm going to change this into what? What letter?
The tav.
The tav. If it has the eem on the end of it, it's masculine. I'm going to change this into what?
The yod and 2 dots.
Yes. So the 2 dots will precede the yod. That's it. So you'll drop the mem off. You'll get rid of the mem. Okay. And that's all you'll have. Okay. And of course, you're going to get this sheet, and this is something that you have to, put to your memory. Okay. So no worries. You're going to get a copy of this. So don't worry about it. Moving along. Now, here's the deal. Now that we have the rules, because those are the 2 rules for putting nouns into their semi-coup form, let's see some examples. So somebody tell me what they're looking for and what happens on line number 1. Somebody explain what you see.
Let's see how.
So here it is. We have the wife of, okay? Abraham. This is the sentence. When you see the of, then you know that it's going to be in a semi-coup form. So the first thing you're going to find out is did this wife how did she get changed? Before she was this aleph, the shin, and the tav, what was she?
She had the isha at the end. The
Yeah,
ah.
she had the I at the end. And so they're showing you that she got converted to this. Okay. So the name of the game is if you're changing a feminine noun by putting her into the semi-coup form, putting some ownership on her, you got to change this hey right here to a tav. That's it. That's all you got to remember. So the ah changes to a tav. Okay. You see? The happiness of the Torah. They got 2 nouns here. The happiness is called simkath and then Torah. Okay? So what noun is in first position? Is it Torah or is it simkath?
Simka.
Simkath. So simkath is in the semi-coup form. So it has a tav on the end. So what did it used to have? It had an ah on the end of it, and they changed it to a tav. Okay. Question. Who belongs to who? Does the female horse belong to Yaakov, or does Yaakov belong to the female horse?
The horse belongs to Yaakov.
Okay. And because the horse is feminine, it's a feminine horse. She was originally Susa. And because she is now the horse of Yaakov, she gets transferred from a Susa to a Susath. So we get rid of the ha and you put the tav on the end of it. You understand? So susah. From susah to susaf. From isha to isheth. Okay. From simka to simkaf. Simkaf. Okay. So that's what happens with a feminine ending. This gets replaced by this. No matter what the noun is, just as long as feminine. Yes, Condra.
So they're considering happiness a feminine word.
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
because it has the ah on it.
Okay.
Simka. Okay. The horse is feminine. That's why she's Susa right here. But we got to convert her from Susa because she belongs to someone to Susaf. Okay. So the ah here changes to the tav, and you're going to get used to it. Okay. So that's how you deal with the femininity, with the female. Okay. Nouns. That's and the only one you have to worry about here is the singular. Okay. That's the only thing you got to worry about, the singular. The singular is the what? This, that's it. That's the only rule you got to worry about. So any noun with this particular ending, you say, well, if it's semi-coup and I got to change it, is it two nouns next to each other? I just got to change that ah to a tav. So you'll see that. So when you read the text, you'll be like, well, why is this letter? I thought that was a woman, but now they'd call it esheth. She's still a woman. It's just in a different, it's in a different form. Okay. You got to change the form. Category 2, which is the ones that are ending in the masculine plurality. So it's going to change from the eem right here, which is the dot, the yod, and the mem. That's plurality. It's going to go from that to 2 dots and a yod. So you're just going to get rid of the mem, and you're going to add a dot, just like you see here. Okay. So do you see this? Do you see underneath the suns, or what they would call suns? Do you see? Let me blow it up a little bit for you. And this is one of the, it's easy, but it's a challenge. Do you see the word b'nai right here?
Yes.
2 dots and a yod. 2 dots and a yod. 2 dots and a yod. That is the form. That is the formula. When you got an eem on the end of any word, any noun, the eem is going to be dropped off and is going to be changed to the 2 dots and a yod. So you never say banim, banim Israel. It's always going to be b'nai Israel. And it doesn't change the quantitative. Okay, it doesn't change the quantity or the quality. It's still sons. B'nai is still sons. Banim is sons. Susim is masculine horses, male horses. Okay, plural. Over here, susay is masculine horses. So the dot, the 2 dots and the yod is still what? It's still masculine. Still masculine. Okay, it's still masculine. Those are markers and forms that you'll see on these nouns to let you know. So if you saw a word like this, you'd be like, oh, there's the 2 dots in that. Oh, it used to be a mem. Oh, so they took the mem off. So we know the mem is masculine. Oh, that's a masculine noun. You see susay, you would say, that's not female, that's masculine. Because we know the 2 dots in a yod was replaced. Used to be a dot, a yod, and a mem, which is masculinity. So you could be able to look at, these are just little pieces to the puzzle. When you read, you'll be like, oh, I know what that is. It's still the same, still sons. Okay. So the B'nai Israel are the sons of Israel. There it is. How do you say the horses of David? Line 2.
Hussein Dawood.
Susay Dawid. Yes. Susay Dawid. Sus is a horse. The A on the end is horses, masculine. The Susay of Dawid. We know they're masculine horses because this used to be a mem, but they took it off because it's in a semi-coup, because this is a noun, this is a noun, this is a noun, and this is a noun. When you put 2 nouns next to each other in Hebrew, is automatically in the semi-coup form. Okay, and this can change at any time. It could be the sons of Israel. It could be the daughters of Israel. Okay. Okay. Quiz question for you. And if it was a daughter of Israel, instead of having B'nai here, and a daughter is called a Bath, what would it be? Would I have to change it?
No.
No, exactly. Because it's already in a Tav, and if it was a daughter, right? And it had if it didn't have this ending on it, this is what you got to remember. If it has this ending on it, I got to change it to a Tav. Okay. If it has this ending and it's a masculine plural and it has this ending, I got to change it to what? 2 dots and a yod. That's what they're trying to get you to see. Doesn't matter what the noun is. They're just going to put the same little recipe right underneath it. The same markings, the same formula right here. Okay. How do you say brothers?
Okay.
Okay. And because this is the first noun, it's the brothers of. This is the semi-coup form, and that's right here. Okay. If I didn't have the brothers of and it wasn't in a semi-coup form, without me going over here to look, what do you think this word was prior?
Ah.
Ak what?
With the I am.
Yes, Akeem. You see? Good. It would be Akeem, but it's not Akeem because it's in a semi-coup form. Could Akeem exist? It depends on what the text is saying. So here it is. Look, you're right. So Akeem went from Akeem because it had the yod and the mem, and they went over here and they put the 2 dots in the yod. Okay. So this changes to this. Okay. Just like in the feminine, it changes from this to what?
The top.
The tav. Thank you. That's it. Are they equivalent? Is there equality in them? Yes, they're exactly the same. All because it went from Isha to Isheth, it doesn't mean it's still the same thing, the wife. All because it went from Akim to Ake, it's still the same. This is just a grammatical tool that they're using to break down where instead of you having to use the words the of, you're just using, of course, the 2 nouns next to each other and they change the endings. Okay. So all the other nouns, meaning that they don't end in these 2 particular endings, which is the feminine or the masculine, plural, the letters don't change. So you got Sus, Dawid. That is the horse of Dawid. You still got the semi-coup. So the only time a semi-coup changes something is when you got Susa or Susim. See, but if it doesn't, if it's just Bain out of Avraham, it's just the sons of Avraham. It's still in the semi-coup because it's how many nouns next to each other?
2.
2 nouns. Son is a noun, Avraham is a noun. Daughter is a noun, and Dawid is a noun. Okay, but she doesn't have the on the end of her. The Bain doesn't have the im on the end, so it doesn't need to be changed. Nothing needs to be changed. That's just the rules. Okay. And you guys will get a copy of this, and this is what you're going to study this week. Okay. So it says, note, when 2 nouns are placed side by side, the meaning is, it could mean this too, that sometimes it means a of or not the of. And they say they'll come back to that later. So there's more to there. There are some exceptions. Okay. Lesson is done. But let's talk about the summary. Rule number 1. Somebody tell me rule number 1. Read it.
There's no word or letter for A in Hebrew.
You guys believe that? Don't ever change there. Aleph is not A. Okay. And the A that's in translation is implied. It's not put there by any letter or word. Okay. The hey at the beginning of the noun, not the verb, means what?
The,
Okay. The wa at the beginning of a noun means what?
and,
The right here that you see at the end of a noun makes it feminine. Okay. The plurality, this is what you learned in lesson number 1, is the yod and the mem, which is masculine plurals. The oath is the feminine. You'll see the pages that you have if you want to reference that, it'll tell you. Okay. It says if the noun ends in an or the will fall off before we add the plural ending oath. So anytime, again, you see that the language is about rules. So if you want to change a singular into a plural with feminine, you'd have to remove the singular, and then you'd have to add the plurality. Okay. That's what you would have to do. The would fall off if you wanted to change a noun, a feminine noun, from a singular to a plural. You'd have to drop this and you'd have to add this. Okay. So it's always going to be some dropping and some adding. I just want to kind of familiarize you with that because that's what you're going to see in the language. You go see some letters drop off and you go see some letters added on. But if you know the vocabulary, you'd be like, oh, I know the reason why that fell off. Okay. So when you got the word banim, okay, and then all of a sudden you go, well, why is it, if I had to change it to a semicolon, what would I do? What would I get rid of?
The ing.
I would get rid of the eam right here. Okay. Okay. I would get rid of that. Okay. And then I would add just 2 dots. And it'd be B'nai. Okay. And those 2 dots would actually go underneath this letter right here, that noon. It would be right here, B'nai. This is what it would be. Okay. So you take away the mem. You get rid of that. Okay. And before you did that, it would be like this. This is what it would, by nim, for sons. So I got to get rid of that. And I got to put the 2 dots underneath here, and I'll put a yo, and it's B'nai. So you're just adding and taking away, depending on how the word is being used in context. Okay. We learned last week that to say he said perfectly, all you have to say is Amar. If I say she said, I just add the Amara. You add the to the end. See how you got to add? Okay. Still the same word, Amar, but you got to put that on the end. And if you want to talk about they said, you just add the on the end of it. You got Amaru. Just pieces to your puzzle. So Amar Yaakov, he said. Yaakov Amar. Yaakov, he said. You translate in English, it just says Yaakov said. Okay. Easy. Lesson number 2 that we went over today was the eth, which is an arrow pointer. That's all we don't need to translate it. There's no difference between one with 2 dots or 3 dots or no dots. It's still the same thing. It's an arrow. Okay. The most challenging part of your lesson today was to understand that anytime you put 2 nouns side by side, the first one will translate as the blank of. And you could put any noun you want in that blank. Okay. The only rule is if that one that you're going to put in that blank had a or a im on the end of it, you got to change it. So sometimes the letters of the first word can change when it goes in, like we talked about. So if the noun ends with an you got to change it to a tav. Example, isha to esheth. We're not going to worry about the nouns, the vowel points. We're going to get to that later. Okay. You just got to learn this rule. The second part of this rule is if it's an im, if it's masculine plural, it got to change to the yod and 2 dots. That's it. You got to remember this. And the example is it went from sons to sons here. It's still sons. Nothing's changed. The only thing that's changed is you got rid of this and you added that other dot. That's it. Okay. All other nouns that don't end with the or the im have no changes to their letters. You don't have to worry about them. For example, if it's a horse, there's no on the end or no im, you don't have to make any changes. And sometimes the first noun will translate instead of the of, it'll be a of. And so they say we'll discuss this later in a later book. They're not telling us why, not yet. Okay. It's interesting, but they don't tell us why. Okay. Final part of it is this. So they want us to translate these following words. Sorry for it being on an angle. My camera just, the book was, we try to fold these pages, it just does that. So our vocabulary words is, king, queen, horse, woman, all this kind of stuff. So the Malka is a queen, okay? And the Susath is, what? What's the Susath?
Female horse.
There it is. Is it singular or plural?
Is it a?
This right here is what? It changed from a to a what? To a tav. So it's what? Is it singular or is this plural? Is it singular or plural? There you go.
Singular.
It's singular. If it was plural, it'd be an oath, a wa and a tav. It'd be oath. That's a feminine ending for plurality. If it's a masculine, it'd be a yod and a mem. And that is your masculine plural. If it's feminine singular, it'd be ah. If it's masculine singular, nothing. It's perfect. That's the only thing you guys got to remember. Because anytime we deal with any words, they're either going to be singular or they're going to be plural. That's it. So once you learn the singular and plurals, you're good. Okay. So the next word, which we have right there called Asheth. Question for you. Is this in a semi-coup form?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Tell me why.
The tav.
Thank you. The tav. So what was it before the tav?
It's Kent.
This is what it was before. Okay. Same thing here. This is what it was before. That was the ending. Okay. So the words Asheth and Susath and Malkath all end in tav. And he asked the question why. And I had the question why. Why are they all ending in this tav?
They're next to another noun.
Yes, because they're next to another noun and they're the first noun. That's the reason why they were changed, and because they had an ending that was like this. They all had this ending, but they got changed because they got put to the next noun. There was a noun, and they're the first noun in the chain. Okay. Looking at number 3 here, we see that all of these have this dot and a yod. 2 dots 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 and a yod. Okay. So we know that is it masculine or feminine?
Masculine,
It's masculine. Is it masculine singular or masculine plural?
plural,
Plural. Okay. It used to be what?
The
It used to be this. It used to be, forgive my drawing. It used to be a yod and a mem. So it used to be Akim, Susim, Banim, and Malkim. Okay. So the Ake, who's the Ake?
That's the brothers.
Brothers. A Sus is a horse. So what's a Susay?
Male horse.
Horses.
Horses.
B'nai is a son, but B'nai, Bain is a son, but B'nai is what?
Sons.
Sons. Malke, okay, Melech is a king. So what's Malke?
Kings.
Kings.
Kings. So what's making it plural?
Oh,
2 dots in the
and
Thank
the,
you. The 2 dots in the yod is making it plural. What was the 2 dots in the yod prior to it being the 2 dots in the yod?
yod and the mem.
It was a yod and a mem, and the yod and a mem is plural, masculine, plural. Okay. So the words that we talked about, Ake, Susei, Bane, and Malake, all in these two dots and a yod. Why? Somebody give me the definite why. Tell me why in your own words.
Masculine, plural.
It's a masculine plural, and what it was is now that it's in a Semi-Coup form and it's two nouns next to each other, they had to change. We have to change from the yod and the mem. Now we got to go to the two dots and the yod. That's all it is. Okay. So it's going to tell us, that's the reason why. Is because it had to be changed. Let's say it. It had to be changed.
It had to be changed.
It had to be changed. And so when I drop off a yod and a mem, I'm going to replace the yod and a mem with what?
Two dots, a yod and two dots.
Yeah, two dots and a yod, or a yod and two dots. If I got a this right here, I got to change it. If it's part of a Semi-Coup, if it's two nouns, it's the first noun in the chain, I got to change it. What I got to change this to?
Tav.
A tav. It's that simple. It will never, and that is it. Okay. So you guys are learning one of the, I would say it's the most challenging. It's not hard, but it's challenging because our brains are not used to it. Okay. 5 through 18. So please translate the following sentences into English. In your answers, please underline the words the and of that are coming because the word is in the Semi-Coup form. Okay. So let me slow down. Please translate the following sentences into English. In your answers, please underline the words the and of that are coming because a word is in the Semi-Coup form. In the answer sheets, we will put these words in boldface. And so they do have an answer sheet to this. I didn't make a copy of it, but I know what it is. I know what the answers are. Okay. So let's just go over a few things. Okay. Because I'm going to send it to you. When we look at this first sentence right here, I don't want anybody to read it. I just want you to tell me what it says in English. Don't read it out loud.
The man.
Uh-huh. Shalak.
Lock.
So shalak means he's sent.
The man sent. You don't have that, but it's the brother.
You're good. He said, the man, the ha'ish, he sent, he shalak. At the arrow, telling us, well, who did he send? He sent the ha what? Ha'isha to, and here we have the Bain Hamalek. The Bain is a noun, and so is Hamalek. So because there's no change, because this doesn't end in a im or it doesn't end in a a, it's two nouns next to each other. So there's automatically in a Semi-Coup. So when it says the ha'ish shalak et the ha'isha, the man, he sent who? The wife to the son of the king. This is the Semi-Coup right here. There are two nouns next to each other. Let's evaluate. This is a noun. What's this? He's sending someone. What is that? An action, right?
Verb.
That's a verb. Then he has an arrow. And the arrow is going to another noun. Okay, there's no other nouns here. Here's a preposition. And then here's another noun, and here's another noun. And once you learn your vocabulary, you'll be like, oh, those are two nouns. So once you see two nouns next to each other, they would automatically become a Semi-Coup. Okay, so in the Semi-Coup, the only time you need to change a word in a Semi-Coup, the first noun is when there's an a for feminine or an im for masculine. That's the only time, but we don't see those endings here. So does it mean the Semi-Coup doesn't exist? No, it means that We just don't have to change this because it's already in without those endings. So when you got a noun and another noun next to each other, it's called a semi-coup. So it means the blank of. So the son, which is the bane of what? The Hamalek, the king. You guys get that? Let's do the next one. The Hamalka. Okay, the Malek is a masculine. The A on here is a feminine, right? So if this is not a king, it's a what?
Queen.
It's a queen. Okay. The queen is a noun. Okay. You know it's a feminine queen, or because she's this verb, this is a verb right here. What is she doing? You guys remember the vocabulary word? If you don't worry about it. It's called took. Okay. She took. La quaka. Okay. She took. The direct object marker is going to let you know where she's pointing to. What did she take? What did she take? Or what did she took? What did she take?
Aisha.
The ha-ish.
Aish.
What's the ha-ish?
Sons.
What's an ish?
Man.
The man. So the queen took the man. Wa means what? Lesson
And.
number 1. And Dom is also, and it's going to let you know what else did she took. Because here's another arrow. See, so it's only one verb so far. This is a noun. Okay. This is a direct object marker. What did she take?
No.
Ha, what? What's this?
Aisha.
Ha-isha. What's a ha-isha?
Woman.
The woman. So we'll start over. The queen, she took the man, the ha-ish, and also talking what else she took, pointing the arrow to the ha-isha, the woman. To where? That's the preposition. To where? What's a bath?
Daughter.
Daughter. She talked to daughter, and the daughter is next to what? I got to move it over a little bit so you can see it.
Hello.
To the king. Look at this. So you got to go through and go noun, verb, arrow, noun, conjunction. I'll just put a C right here. I think this is a conjunct or a preposition. Arrow again to the noun. Okay. Preposition to a noun and a noun. Got two nouns next to each other. So according to this, we know a bath is a daughter. Okay. So what's the first thing? It's the first noun. So since it's in first position, I'm gonna go the blank of what? What's the next one? Hamalek. What's a Hamalek?
King.
The king. So the bath goes right here. And she doesn't have like a on the end. She doesn't have a eem on the end. She's not masculine. And then you got the, which is ha, and malek, the king. So what happened? The queen, she took the ha-ish, the man, and also the ha-isha, the woman, to the daughter of the king. You guys see that? So what's the goal? What are we trying to learn right here? We're trying to understand that we got two nouns next to each other. Okay. That's what we're going to learn. the two nouns. Okay. Is this a noun right here?
Yes.
Is this a noun right here?
No.
Yaakov?
Oh, yes.
So what we got? What is that saying right there?
B'nai Yaakov, the sons of Yaakov.
There you go. So when we got two nouns next to each other, okay, two nouns next to each other, it's always going to be the blank of blank. So the first noun goes into the first blank. So the first noun over here is sons. Why does it have two dots and a yod? Somebody tell me. What did it used to be?
Yod
A
and a
yod
mem.
and a mem.
Meaning sons. So it's plurality. Okay. So, and we know the second noun right here is Yaakov. Okay. That's what I want to teach you. I don't want to just send this over to you and try to figure it out. I want to really show it to you. So you can have the semi-coup at the front of a sentence, or you can have the semi-coup in the back of a sentence, or you can have it in the middle of the sentence. You got to be able to recognize, and you'll recognize it by the vocabulary. Okay. One of your words that you learned in the vocabulary last week was halak or halaku. Okay. That means to go or to walk or went. Okay. So the u on that means they. Okay. So the B'nai Yaakov halaku to what? They went to Mitzrayim, which is the place. So the sons of Yaakov, they went, because the they right there is this u, went to Mitzrayim. Okay. What we're talking about is translational value. This is how you're going to translate. We're talking about translation. The man he sent to, Eth, the arrow, the woman to son of the king, the son of the king. The queen, she sent direct object marker, the man, and also direct the woman, the Aisha, to the what? The daughter of the king. B'nai Israel is not sons of Israel, the sons of Israel, because it's in a semi-coup. They went to Mitzrayim. Okay. Next one. What's the name of this guy? Take a guess.
Yosef,
Yeah, Yosef. Uh-huh.
Dane,
Uh-huh.
Yaakov,
Yaakov. Uh-huh.
Halak,
Halak what?
El,
Uh-huh.
Akim,
Good. So now what we see is we got a noun, we got a noun, we got a noun, and we got a verb, and then we got a preposition, and then we got another final noun. Okay. So we got three nouns. Okay. So it's Yosef, the what? What is Yosef? The blank of who?
Yaakov,
Of Yaakov. So Yosef, okay, that's the first part, is the what? He's the son of Yaakov. Okay, Yaakov. Halak, he went to what? The what? Akim,
brothers.
brothers. Why isn't brothers here with two dots and a yod?
It's not next to another noun.
It's not next to another noun. Thank you. It only has a preposition before it. Okay. Good job, everybody. Number 9. Who's that?
Yosef,
Okay, what did he do?
Quara.
Kara, and you do your vocabulary. Kara means he called. Like our word Wayikra, Yosef, he called to what?
Sons.
Huh?
The sons of Yaakov.
The sons, because remember, the sons of Yaakov. So this right here is a noun plus another noun, and that's called a semi-coup. And because it's the first noun in that arrangement, it had to change. It used to be this. It used to be the yod and the mem. That's what it used to be. And because it was the yod and the mem, they said, we got to change it to the two dots and the yod. It's still sons. They just had to change the form. So the form of it's going to change. So anytime you see the two dots and a yod under any noun, you know that, oh, it's in a semi-coup form. So the next word next to it, you show, oh, that's a noun. So B'nai of Yaakov, it's not just a sons of Israel, it's the sons of Yaakov. Okay. Yosef kara el de B'nai Yaakov. Yosef, he called to the sons of Yaakov. Okay. And what did they do? Where's they in this word? How do I know what's they? What letter?
The get.
The u.
Oh,
So if that's halak, right? You got halak, meaning they went, okay, but the u on the end, halaku, that u right here, was this right here? It means they. Okay, and then you say went. So I'm saying it went they, but it is they went. They went what? What is word called? What does call mean? Think of this.
two.
Call.
They went all.
Remember? Call. Remember, make a call. Call means all. So they, okay. So they went all. Okay. What's okay?
Brothers.
Two dots and a yo, brothers. Yeah. Of who?
Yosef.
So really, this should be all the brothers of Yosef. Two, where they go?
Yaakov.
To Yaakov. Good job. Okay. Number 11. Is that in a semi-coup form? The first word?
Yes.
Yes, it is. What did it used to be?
I am.
Then by nim. Why is it changed to the two dots and a yod?
Because of the noun next to it.
Because it's the first one in a semi-coup form and it's another noun next to it. So you got two nouns. And so based on that, in our mind to translate, we would go the what? Sons of Paro. That's what they call Paro. They call him Pharaoh, but it's Paro. Okay. Okay. The sons of Paro. Lakak means to take. So we got they, what? The sons of Paro, what? They took eth, the direct object marker. What did they take?
The horses.
Horses. Are they male or female?
Male.
Why you know they're male?
The yod and the two dots.
Good. Okay. The two horses. Okay. The two dots and a yod. Okay. Masculine. Okay. Ha'akim. So you see right here, what are this? What does that say? The brothers. Okay. Why does this have an eam right here? And and this one right here has two dots and a yod. Why they didn't change this one? Why didn't it not change this word? I know I got you guys thinking.
It's not showing two. The horses are not.
It's two nouns next to each other, but guess what? The only one that you need to worry about is the first or the second. Which one do you need to worry about? The first or the second?
First.
The first. That's the only one you need to be concerned with. If there's two nouns next to each other, worry about the first one. That's the first one that has to change. The second one doesn't have to change. It's only the first noun. So they know before this was susay, it used to be susim. Okay, so it'll be susim ha'akim. It's like, no, we can't do that. We're going to go susay so we can give ownership of the horses to the brothers. Because these are the horses, the male horses of the brothers. Okay. To what? Who they give it to? They gave it to, that's a preposition, to Paro. So the sons of Paro, they took the horses of the Hakim to Paro. Okay. Number 12. This is the name of your mother, of the family, the patriarch. What do you call her? Matriarch. What's the name of our mother? Number 12. What's
Sarah.
Huh?
Sarah.
Sarah. So Sarah, that's a noun. And what is this right here?
Wife.
She is wife. Good. A chef. What did he used to be before they put the tav there? The which made her the feminine, right? So because it's going to be the first, listen, it's the first in the second noun. Okay, so Sarah is the wife. She's the wife, the Esheth of the second one, Abraham. And what does she do? She la ka eth arrow pointing what? What did she take? Ha what? Look at it
Aisha.
carefully. Aisha. Good. So Sarah, the wife of Abraham, she took the arrow pointing directly to what she took. She took the Ha'isha. She took the woman. Okay. It's just a sentence. It's not something in the Torah or whatever. They're using sentences here that they put together. The next one is Paro. And then we know that it's masculine because it doesn't have a feminine ending. Like the lakaka here is not the same here. Same letters, lamed, kof, and the ket. Lamed, kof, and the ket. Those are your vocabulary words, right? It has the on it because it's a feminine. Sarah's the one who took it. Here, this is a masculine, so there is no on the end of this. And it's going to point you directly to what the Paro took. The arrow is the et right here. What did he take?
Sarah.
He took Sarah, which is, what is she?
The wife.
Yes, she's the what? The
Wife.
wife, because she's the blank of who? Avraham. Avraham. And that's a story that we know about. Okay. So why did they change this from an a to a tav?
Two nouns.
Two nouns next to each other. Is this noun right here, is it the first noun? Yes. Is it feminine?
Yes.
It is. And therefore, because it used to be an they had to change it to a what?
Top.
To a tav. Okay. So you should know. Well, that's why they call it an Ashith. He's like, well, I didn't know the wife's name was Ashith. I thought it was Isha. It is. It's Isha. But because in grammar, you got two nouns called the Semi-Coup Form, she has to take on another form called the Ashith. Okay. Ashith is exactly the same as a wife, but she's the wife. Okay. Or the wife. Okay. Question. Is this in a Semi-Coup form?
No.
Yes.
Egypt.
Okay.
Egypt.
Well, it used to be, it's called a malka, okay? A malka is a queen, okay? So the queen, listen, of Mitzrayim, okay? You can see within the verb that she did, the halakha. You see the ah right here? It lets you know this is feminine, okay? She what? She went, because halak means to go, right? Halak. But now we put the halaka, or yeah, halaka, halaka, halaka. That's the verb. Okay. Where did she to where? She went where? To who? There's two nouns. You don't need to change it because you don't know. She went to where? What's a Malek?
King.
The king of what? Mitzrayim. Yes, exactly. So the Malakah so the queen of Mitzrayim, Halakah, she went to the king. We said, well, how do you know it's the king? I don't see a how in front of this. So how you know it's the king? Because it's a noun next to another noun. Two nouns next to each other, the one in first position, if it doesn't have an im on the end of it as a masculine, then I know I don't have to change it. It's still a melech. Is it just King Mitzrayim or King of Mitzrayim? It's the king. Because anything in two nouns next to each other will let you know that this king is the king, blank of, and then it'll let you know Mitzrayim right here. Okay. You guys get it? Are you starting to get it? It's the of. Two nouns is always going to mean the blank of blank. So the first noun goes here and the second noun goes here. If the first noun is here, has an im or a ah, it has to be changed, the ah to the tav. The im goes from that to two dots and a yod. That's it. Okay. So that's 14. 15. What's 15? What's the first letter? What's how
The.
mean? The or the. Uh-huh. We got a mother right here called an ain. The aleph and the mem. That's mother. We got an ending that's oath. So what are we talking? Singular or plural?
Plural.
So it's the what? The mothers. Okay, we got that down. Everybody see how I did that? I'm just breaking it down. I'm just that's mother, and that's plural, mothers, the mothers. Okay, and because it's plural, I know that this one here says this means what? What does that oo mean on the end of a word? Is it singular, plural, huh? They. Thank you. So who? The mothers, they. What did they do? The Nathan. Nathan means to what? I told you I used to shoot dice. Nathan. What does Nathan mean? Instead of you don't get anything, I'm going to give it to you. So they gave what? Arrow. What did they give? The ha. There's a sus and im.
The horses.
The horses.
The horses. What kind of horses? Male or masculine or feminine?
Masculine.
Masculine. Why is it masculine?
The yod and the mem.
Quiz question for you. Say there was another noun next to this. What would I do to this yod and this mem?
Drop the mem.
So what would it say? Would it say susim or what would it say? Say it.
Say.
Susay. That's what it would say. It would say susay. Good job. So the susim right here are the male horses, and that's the wa, and this word here, gam, means also. Here's an arrow again pointing to exactly what they gave. Okay. They gave the ha here. What's the ha? The, and here we got horse again. So what kind of horses? Masculine or plural? Or feminine?
Feminine.
They're feminine. How do you know they're feminine?
The top at the end.
because you got the oath right here. When you got the masculine, it'd be the eem right here, the yod and the mem. Okay, so this is masculine. This is feminine, plural. Okay, so anytime you have the oath on it, you know that, oh, that's plural, that's feminine. Okay, also to what? Who they given to?
To the sons.
To the sons, the ha, banim. Why is it banim and not banim? Why is it not this? Why isn't it 2 dots in a yod?
Not next to a noun.
Because it's not next to another noun. It's by itself. You understand? So anytime you got 2 nouns, they got to change. That's the goal in the teaching today. Okay. Number 16. There was a change made. What was the change? That's a susath. Why is it susath?
The tav at the end.
Yeah, but why they changed the tav? What was it? Before it called susath, what would you call it?
Huh?
A susah. And what's a susah?
Female horse.
A female horse. Okay, good job. So we know since it was changed to a tav, that means that this is the first noun in our next to the second noun. So it's going to be the blank of blank. So far we got the female horse. It's a horse still, but it's not a male horse. It's a female horse because it's a susah, because it used to be susah, but we changed it from susah to susath. It goes to a tav. That still lets you know that this is feminine. It's a feminine horse, but it's the horse, but it's a feminine horse of who? Who's this right here? Who's the next blank? This guy right here, the what? The ha what?
The king.
The king. The horse of the king. Okay. And the horse of the king did a halakha. Okay. So is it possible that, so who are we talking about? What are we talking about? The horse of the king, she did what?
She took.
This right here is halakha. Halak is to go, and the ah on the end is feminine, meaning that she went.
She went.
So the horse of the king, she went, el, meaning to who? Who did she go to? The ha, the mal what? Malka. Malek is king. So if it's a malka and you got the end, it's a what?
Queen.
A queen. Exactly. So the Susat Hamalek, meaning the horse of the king, she went to the queen. Good job. You see how you're breaking it down? What's the name of our father?
Abraham.
Everybody know that. Avraham. Okay. We can get in his name. I could break his name down really strong. Okay. Avraham, he asa. Okay. Okay. Asa means to do or to make. Okay. He, what? Eth, meaning an arrow, what? Called. And what does call mean?
All
All. It's easy to remember. He made all what?
the
Ha,
The
mit, woth. Okay. So as we know, let's break this down. What is ha? The or the. What is what's a matzah or mitzvah? What's a mitzvah?
statue.
Command
And
or charge. We call it command or commandment. Okay. I got oath on the end. So what is oath? Is it singular or plural?
it's plural.
Huh? Plural. Is it masculine or feminine?
Feminine.
It's feminine. So you would know that the mitzvah, the commandments of Yahweh, are feminine, correct?
Right.
You see? So the ha-mitzvah, okay? So Abraham, he what? He did going to arrow all the ha-mitzvah. Okay? So you can see how, I don't know how women be getting mad at men or getting mad at us because you guys be like, you be mad hard on women. No, I'm not. Women, you guys are in more things than we are. Mitzvot, that's feminine. Go on my tangent right quick. Nefesh, it's
So,
feminine. That's your soul. It's feminine. The commandments, feminine. Asad, to do something feminine. Do you see why he's asking the femininity of us, of our souls, to do what he says, the Asad, the etakola ha-mitzvot? Because he's talking to a woman, he's talking to a female, he's talking to his people. Boy, we better understand. Last one. You guys are exhausted. What does it say?
all
All what?
the
Sons.
Yes. You guys can get this. This is but you got to know. So since it's talking about plural and his sons, this next word right here is what? That's little, the wall on the end. What does that mean? That's they. Okay. So we know that they're doing something. Okay. And so this is a verb. What are they doing? My favorite word. Ahav. What's ahav? Love. What do they love? Here's the aleph tav, the eth, the arrow. One of your vocabulary words is simcha. Right? And this one is what? Ha what? Everybody should know that. So this is joy and happiness.
The mitzvah. The mitzvah.
That's a T. That's a O. That's a R. And that's a A. So all the sons, they love eth what? They're pointing where they're putting their action. And they change, and because this simkath, got a little ahead of myself, is the simkath is the first noun, and this is the second noun. Okay, so there's two nouns next to each other. This used to be a like simka, but it's sim, because if you know your vocabulary, you're like, oh, that's simkath, but they got simkath. So it's been changed to a semi-coup. So what did it used to be before it was a tav? It used to be a. And a is what? Masculine or feminine?
Feminine.
Okay. On the on the Torah, is it masculine or feminine?
Feminine.
You guys better hear what I'm telling you. So we found out that the commandments are feminine. We found out the soul is feminine. And we found out the Torah is feminine. We found out the joy and the happiness of is feminine. You guys understand that? Look how Yah has done this. So the simkath of the HaTorah, that's what they love. They love the happiness and the joy of, because the what? It's always the blank of the blank. Okay. So the simkath is the joy or happiness of the what? Of the Torah. Torah is feminine. Torah is feminine. Joy is feminine. And why is it feminine? Because that's the only thing that can bring joy and happiness is the femininity. She's the helper. Wisdom is feminine. Chokmah, feminine. You understand? Binah, to build, feminine. Okay? So Yah is using all these different things to get to us and to show us that everything works together. Okay. That's he's asking us to do. So you guys did a wonderful job. I know it was a little bit intense because I'm going over the Semi-Coup, and you believe me, once you start reading the Torah and you read the text, you'll be like, okay, I know what would happen here. I know why it's not Isha, it's a Sheth. It's because it's in a Semi-Coup. So then from now on, you're not going to go you're going to go the blank of the. Okay, this is this, and this belongs to this. Okay, so those are the things that you've learned today. You've learned quite a bit, pretty intense, but I'm going to send this to you. Okay, so you can go ahead and finish your study for this week. I do want you to take these, vocabulary words that you've learned, the sus and the susa, the melech and the malka. You won't know what something's in a Semi-Coup if you don't know your vocabulary. So this week alone, you got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? You got 12 vocabulary words to learn, and they're hard. Once you learn sus, you can put the al, it's a susa, it's a female. Once you learn melech, and you go to malakat, it's a feminine. Mitzvah, okay? You know the commandment, you know the simcha, you know the shalak and lakak, the lakwak and the nathan, the asa, the ahav. That's every word that we just learned is in our vocabulary. Once you get the vocabulary done, you'll know, oh, this is in a Semi-Coup. Oh, no, it's not. Sus, by itself, or susa, oh, it's a female horse. Oh, that's why they put a susath. Oh, because they changed it because it was a female horse. Ah, I got it. Okay. It was the queen, but they got it now. Malkat, they got a Malkath. You'll get it. It won't be Simcha, it'll be Simkath. It won't be Banim, it'll be Banay or Susay or whatever. You guys learned a lot today. All right. So be excited about that. Any questions?
I had one. When we're reading like Genesis 1:1, do we just skip over the F and not? No, you say.
No, let me tell you about them. Glad you mentioned that, Condra, because that's a very powerful thing that I'm going to tell you the secret behind the F, okay? Because there is a secret to it that I found. One of the things that I found, you guys, in reading the F was this. So let's just go what she said, Genesis chapter number 1, right? When you read it, it goes, better she'd bother Elohim et. You're supposed to read it, okay? Because what the et does, the et is supposed to focus your attention on exactly what he did, okay? I had somebody to tell me the other day that, the creator didn't create, the gods, the other Elohim created the heavens and the earth, okay? That's what this guy, he and I had an argument. The only way that I was able to change his mind is because I understand how the eth work. When you see the eth, it's nothing but an arrow that's telling you where this in particular verb, whatever the verb is pointing you as an arrow to what he did. You see? So the eth is arrows. So you want to say it because that will be, when I do my studies, I'll be like, I'm always looking for the eth. I'm always looking for where's that verb, where's that action being sent to? You don't want to get lost in translation. You want to know where's that arrow at? And you'll find it. That arrow will point you directly to what Yah was talking about. Whatever a verb is, you need that et. It will tell you what. But here's the kicker. You see underneath it in English, it says direct object marker, okay, which is really called an arrow. When they put an eth in front of something, it generally has a hey on the front of that noun, a definite article. Okay. Pointing in that definite article means exactly what it is. Okay. And this just solidifies that the verb was, being done by Elohim, but it's letting you know where's the arrows pointing. All the arrows are pointing here. And the other eth right here is pointing the arrows here. So what is Yah telling you? Why is he pointing arrows here? Why is Yah using arrows and markers?
To let you know that that's exactly what he did.
Exactly. And that's exactly where I want you to focus. So what we find, I'm glad we're talking about this. And thank you for your question, because it's a wonderful question. From just us knowing what the et represents, an arrow, as a leader, as a shepherd, okay, Yah is directing us to exactly what he created So all the narrative from verse number 2 all the way down, he's going to tell you what, like where he starts off, he says, and the earth was void. So the opening line is Bereshit Badra Elohim Ne'eta Hashamayim and the Wa'eta Haaretz. He's saying, I'm pointing you right now to everything that I did in the Shamayim and the Haaretz. It's not just Shamayim, it's Ha-Shamayim, and not just Aretz, it's the earth. It's not a earth, it's the earth. So in the Hebrew, when you have an article, a definite article, and it's represented by this word art, okay, and it's really represented by a hey in Hebrew, okay, it lets you know, that's what the definite article is, it lets you know that I'm not talking about a earth. I'm talking about the earth, this earth, okay? So your focus should be on exactly where he's pointing the arrow. That's the target. So these are nothing but arrows, and you shoot arrows at what? At a target. So Yah's telling you what the target is. So when you read the Hebrew and you're reading the text and what you're studying, every time you see an eth, you're supposed to pay really careful attention. And you associate it wherever that verb was to the thing that he pointed to. Some people like to take what he said and apply it to somewhere else. He said, no, this is my arrow. I'm pointing towards this target right here. This is the target for the next few lines. I want you to focus on what I pointed to. That's what I begin to tell you. And how would you know that? You would know it in verse number 2. And he says, and the what? The haaretz. The earth was what? Tahu. It was void. It was formless and it was void. And wabohu. And the wako shekadi all of the panay. Question for you. I told you guys earlier. Do you see those 2 dots in the yod?
Yes.
So what is it? What was supposed to be here?
In, im,
So what does mean?
plural face.
Masculine.
It's masculine, right? So is it face?
Faces.
It's not face. It's what?
Faces.
Faces. So when Yah says, when you come and stand lafanai, okay, or lafane or melafane, what he's talking about, or panay, Yah has more than one face. Not as a face of a man, but he's saying anywhere that you look, right? Whenever I look, whatever I see, no matter where I turn my face to, okay, that's what he says. Don't be in front of my faces, not my face. Don't, anywhere I look, okay, because wherever he points his face, that's where his face is. And he has many faces. He has faces of anger, love, compassion, mercy. There's all, you have expressions. Where do you think you got them from? Where do you think you got your expressions from? Everybody can tell what you're thinking by what your face looks like. Yah has multiple. So here you can see that this is an incorrect, and right here it tells you the truth. It's a noun, and guess what? Here's another noun. And 2 nouns next to each other, you got to change. You got to go, and this is in what they call a semi-coup, is it not? It is. There's 2 nouns right next to each other. Panay and tahom. Okay? You guys see that? A noun and a noun. The first noun is the one that has to be changed. Let's verify. Let's click it. Let's see if it's face. Oh, look, they told the truth. Panim. See, it's faces. Okay. Which comes from pana. Okay. You guys get it now?
Yes.
So every time I see the 2 dots in the yod, I'll be like, oh, that's in a semi-coup, and that really is faces. That's plurality. Okay. That's what it is. So does that make sense for the eth? You notice in verse 3, there's no eth. Verse number 4, there's no eth. Why? Because he ain't pointing at nothing. He's been talking about the heavens and the earth, right? Verse number 6, there's no eth. Verse number 7, there's an eth, the first one. after what he said. So now, Waya'as, and he made who? The he is Elohim, what? He gives you another arrow. Arrow now is the Hadra Kuya. You see? Now I'm telling you, okay, focus your attention on this now. You follow what I'm saying?
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's like this is what he's saying. Okay. So he doesn't put F's on everything. He only puts them on where he wants you to focus on. So in verse number 7, you get it. Verse number 8, there's nothing. And you actually see the word for Leviticus right here, Wayikra. This is right here, the same name for what we read. Okay. I want you to focus your attention on that when I'm talking to you. So don't be speed reading through day number 2. Focus on the firmament, the Hadrakuya. Okay. Look, do we got any more? We got a Wayikra in 10, but is there any YF? Any F? Nope. 11. Nope. Nope. 12. Nope. 13. Nope. 14. Not yet. I don't see any more. He still mentions the earth. Does he want the west? No. Oh, here you go. 16. What's the focus now? Here's the arrow. He said, I made 2 great lights. That's where I need your focus now. I need you to focus on that now. You see? So that's what we want. And then it talks about here, and look what he goes through in 16. He says, I made them so they can what? And then he points the arrow again, and he uses it several times. The F, the Ha'or, the Hagadola, and the Lamam Shalef to rule the day, and the YF, what? To point the arrow to the Ha-Ma'or. You see, every time you get the F, you get the Ha. So I'm pointing directly to the direct object marker that I want you to look at. And then he goes to Hakaton. There's an article on the front of that. To La Mem Shalef to rule. You guys know off the top, right? If this Mem Shalef right here, what was it before it was Mem Shalef? Mem Shah what?
Shalah.
Mem Shalah. And then I got a YF and another. I need you to focus on the Ha Kokovim, on the stars. So I'm teaching you guys all the little secrets that Yah has given me over the time of my studies. When I started studying, I was like, what do you want me to focus on? He said, where am I pointing the arrow at? You're pointing the arrow to what you need to focus on. That's why the arrows are there. I kept you guys long enough. I love you though. This is what it is. Okay. So why is y'all giving you all this information? Huh? Because you guys are the next teachers. You guys are teachers. That's what you are. That's why you're interested in it. You're not interested. You're not on class because I just want to learn the language. Yah has plans for you. Okay. So keep coming to class. I'm gonna shoot out this to you guys. All right.
Toda.
Great lesson. Great lesson.
You're welcome. Who's Galaxy S9? Who is that?
I invited a sister from Canada to listen. So
Yay! Welcome, welcome, welcome.
I'm
So
gonna
what
get
I'm gonna
her
do is,
email.
Condra, I'm gonna send you the lesson. You send it to her. Okay.
Okay.
And Gil, do I got your email?
Yeah, you do.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I sent you some stuff. Good, cool. So yeah, you guys, we'll continue on this journey and we'll continue to learn because this is what Yah wants to show it to you. Because once you start reading the Torah, you'll never, it's hard because you don't want to read English anymore. I'm forced. I can't read English. I can't. I only read it through them for class so everybody else can understand. Other than that, but I verify when I'm reading English. I just don't read it. It's like, well, let me read it. No, I read the Hebrew and verify. Is this true? Is this what it says? What does the text say? So that's what you'll get. So much love and appreciation for you guys, and continue to invite more people to the class. It's free. It doesn't cost anything except for a little bit of your time. All right. It will definitely help you in your studies. Lila Tov, everyone, and shalom to you.
Lala Tov.
Lila Tov. Gil,
Yeah,
stay on.
okay.
Let me close out my my video. Let me see.